Hi, my name is Isaac. I'm the coffee shop guy, and I'm down in Los Angeles, California, down here for a course called the Erotic Blueprint, done by a lady by the name of Jaya. Just outside LAX right now, so it's a little loud. I'm sorry, but we'll get by that. So we're going to talk about my favorite subject today, and you'll see me light up quite a bit, and you're going to see me have a lot more energy than I did in my last episode. Because my last episode, I'm just talking about me and just being chill and whatever. But this is literally the most incredible thing on the planet, and that is orgasms. If you've had one, you probably like them. I've had them, and I enjoy them. But all orgasms are like snowflakes, and everybody's different. Here's the thing, though, and this is a question that I have to ask you. Did you know that your orgasms are subjective? And I mean that the strength, the pleasure that you can feel from it, and the amazing things about them are all in your mind. And that if somebody was to feel the exact same orgasm that you have in their body, they might experience it possibly as a 4, while you experience it as 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe interstellar, whatever we want to call it. And the reason for that is that they've probably got stronger muscles than you. Their muscles have a faster response time. Obviously, I work out, and the thing is that in that time I've recognized that your body and all of your muscles can be trained to be able to do different things. When it comes to orgasms, that's exactly the same thing. Whether you're talking about women, whether you're talking about men, it all comes down to a stronger pelvic floor. It comes down to a faster response in your muscles, developing your slow twitch and your fast twitch muscle fibers, and being able to make it to the point where when you have an orgasm, it takes you to the moon. Well, I'd like to talk to you about that, and I'd like to help you get you on that path to being in that space where when you have an orgasm, it doesn't matter whether you experience it or whether somebody else experiences it, it's going to be through the roof. So one of the things is let's just talk a little bit first about the types of orgasms. Now, men and women are different, but they are the same. We're all kind of made up the same thing. We're all made out of 70% water. We're all made out of muscle and bone and sinew and tissue and everything like that. So I have a question for you. Do you think that everything that a woman experiences is something that you possibly can experience without the obvious things? You have guy parts, she has girl parts, or she has feminine parts, women parts, whatever you want to call them. So there's certain things that you're not going to be able to experience that she's going to be able to experience, and vice versa. However, when it comes down to it, you're going to experience exactly the same thing. So let's just talk a little bit about establishing a baseline. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to go home and I'd like you to take some time by yourself. You're going to anyways, whether it's today or next week or in a month or with your partner later in the afternoon or later in the year. It's the year. We'll talk about this later. It should be tomorrow. It should be the day after. It should be the next couple days. However, with that said, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to sit down and I'd like you to take some time to play with yourself and figure out where you would say your feeling is out of 10. And then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take a look at things like edging. Edging is a practice where you go right to the edge of having an orgasm and you stop and you back off. And you let what I call the orgasmic urgency disappear or subside. Some people, they have to let it disappear. Some people have to let it subside. Some people, it's when it disappears, then they can stop themselves from going over the edge. When they let it subside, they can stop themselves from getting over the edge. So it all really depends on you and your self-discipline and your ability to withhold pleasure from yourself and so on and so forth. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try doing that. And I'd like you to take yourself to an edge and do it like 3 to 4 times and then try going over the edge. That's the first task. The reason why I want you to do that is I want you to understand that I kind of know what I'm talking about when it comes to orgasms. Whether we're talking about men or we're talking about women, I am a man, I identify as a man, I identify as masculine, and my whole life as a teenager, probably for the first 6 years, 7 years of my teenage life, every single Saturday morning from 7 a.m. until 4:30 in the afternoon, I edged. It's fucking crazy, I know. And so I would just spend hours and hours and hours reading erotica because there was no porn back then. You couldn't easily access it on the internet. If you did it at a Kazaa or some goofy thing like that. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go and I'd like you to edge and get yourself to the point where you understand that your orgasm that you have been having traditionally the exact same way every single time is not what you thought it was. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about things that you can do to improve it. I didn't really talk too much about what I'm going to get into on my last episode, and I'd really like to get into that now. I'm going to take a couple extra minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things we're going to end up covering as time goes on. One, we're going to cover edging. We're going to cover what that looks like. We're going to cover how to build an orgasm. And I don't mean how to build like something that's just going to kind of knock you over the edge. My rule is your goal should always be going to blackout or C stars. Some people say, well, that's too far. I don't think I can handle that. Well, cool. Let's back out from that. And let's go till you almost C stars and almost blackout. Because you're feeling and experiencing so much pleasure that you're getting to the point where your body is almost wanting to shut down. That's the cool stuff. Well, also what I'd like to talk about is how to look at getting different orgasms. Now, my specialty is women more than men because I've been a pleaser my whole life and haven't really been that much of a receiver. So I'm going to be mostly speaking to men about pleasing women and women about pleasing themselves. So we're going to talk about things like G-spot orgasms and clitoral orgasms and A-spot orgasms. We're going to be talking about things like vaginal orgasms and anal orgasms. We're going to be talking about things like my personal favorite, something I came up with when I was a teen, bridging, stacking, trigasms, and quadgasms. I know these sound like weird terms to you. We'll find out as time goes on what that means. But in the meantime, let's go back to what your takeaway is going to be. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go home. I'd like you to go take care of yourself, but I'd like you to stop short. Stop short or edge. Some places call it stop short, some places call it edging. And I'd like you to do that at least 3 to 5 times. Then what I want you to do is I want you to knock yourself over the edge once you've passed that 5th time. So we're talking about number 6 or number 4, depending on how much you're willing to try pushing yourself. It may be a little bit excruciating. It may feel like your body's going to explode. It may feel like you're going to have sensation in your body that you've never had before. But in that, I promise that whatever you thought your orgasm was, it's probably going to finish being at least that much or more higher, I should say. So that's your takeaway. Next episode, we're going to be talking about communication between men and women. And I know this is like, oh, well, I want to talk about orgasms more. Cool, tune in and we're going to do that. There's lots more down the road. I've got probably 100 points and 100 things that I want to cover with you guys, you ladies out there, and go from there. Till next time, this is Isaac, the Coffee Shop Guy.